Hi everyone, Gary Cassidy here, and today I'm joined by a man you can watch as part of Impact every Wednesday at 10 PM on Free Sports, and of course at Hard to Kill on Premier Sports. It's the TNA World Champion, it's Moose. How's it going today, Moose?
Oh, it's going well.
Excellent, man. So first things first, before we get into Moose questions, and of course I've got a fair few of those, I feel like it would be remiss of me not to ask about this newfound friendship we're seeing between AEW and Impact Wrestling. What were your thoughts on it when you found out about it?
It was definitely surprising. But I mean, it's good. I think it's a win for the fans. I know since this whole thing started, all I get flooded on my mentions on social media about all these possible dream matches that could come from it. So I mean, I think it's a good thing for the fans, and the fans definitely win in this whole process.
Most definitely. You mentioned everyone going on about those dream matches. I feel like a lot of people have mentioned Kenny Omega versus Rich Swann, and not a lot of people seem to be talking about the possibility of Kenny Omega versus Moose. I mean, you're the TNA World Champion. You've spent a lot of, time, blood, sweat, tears, re-legitimizing that title. I know you've shared the ring with Cody Rhodes in the past. Kenny Omega said he's a belt collector. Is there any interest in a Moose Kenny Omega match?
I mean, how do I answer that question? Why? Why not? I have no. The thing with matches is like I don't just like having matches just to have a match because it's a possible dream match. You have to give me a reason for why I'm wrestling Kenny Omega. I like Kenny. I respect him. He's done a lot, obviously, in the world of professional wrestling, but I don't have any no problems with Kenny. Like I wouldn't want to hurt him. If that's what you're asking, I mean, I wouldn't want to hurt Kenny. I don't have any issues with him. Now, Rich Swann, I have a lot of issues with, and that's somebody who I want to hurt. So that's where my mind is at this present moment. Now, what could happen with me and Kenny in the future, we'll see. But as of right now, I like Kenny, and he's doing a great job, and he's one of the best wrestlers in the world.
Yeah, and you mentioned Rich Swann there. We did, of course, see a little bit of a stare down happening between yourself and Rich Swann. I want to ask, you're holding the TNA Championship. He's holding the Impact World Championship. What's the aim for Moose? Do you want just simply for that title to be recognised, or was that stare down with Rich Swann something that might lead to a unification match at some point?
I think at this point that's what might have to happen because, I've done everything that I could possibly do with the TNA Heavyweight Championship, and people still don't think it's legitimate. So I feel like the thing now to do to make all this naysayers believe in what I have been doing the last few months is to take what they feel like is legitimate from the current champion. And that's what I'm going to do.
Definitely. And for me, I think, a lot of people aren't recognising that the TNA World Championship is legitimate. I think you've worked very hard to make it seem legitimate again. I want to ask, you left a potential career in the NFL to become a professional wrestler. Is holding the TNA Championship, or, potentially in the future, unifying the TNA and Impact World Championship, would that be vindication for you leaving that career, or did you even need vindication in the first place?
Can you repeat the question? I don't quite understand.
Oh, yeah, sorry. It's just, of course, you left a potential career in the NFL. What would be a very lucrative career for many in American football. You're holding the TNA Championship. In the future, there's a good chance you might hold that and the Impact World Championship if they were unified. Is that vindication or justification for you leaving a potential career in the NFL? Or did you need that in the first place? Was it just a case of you're like, well, I want to be a professional wrestler, so that's all that matters?
I don't think I need to win any title for any kind of vindication of leaving the National Football League or the NFL or leaving the football world. I think I already proved that I'm probably one of the best athletes to cross over from the football side to wrestling. I think that's enough vindication for my decision for switching sports. I mean, if you ask fans to name their top five, I'll be in that top five, either at one or one of those five that they pick. So for me, that's enough indication. As of right now, I'm just continue to have fun and live this dream of mine.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think that the credit to you is when people mention your name, it is as a wrestler. No one mentions you being a former NFL star. Of course, one of my favourite things from Moose this year has to be that match with EC3. You know, so different to anything we've ever seen on Impact Television, maybe apart from the Matt Hardy cinematic matches. What was that experience like for you? You know, how much creative input did you have, and what was it like just having that different match with EC3?
I mean, it was fun. I mean, it's definitely great when you have a match with somebody you respect and you consider a friend and in life, you know. So I think a lot of business was done in that match, and we created magic.
Definitely, and I say one of my favourites because my actual favourite Moose thing right now has to be your iconic entrances. How did those come about? What was the inspiration for your new style of entrances?
It's just a mindset and a thought. It's not always me that come up with it. It's you have the amazing staff at Impact Wrestling who have given me their input on what they think that I should do, and I mean, it's usually a good idea.
Yeah, definitely. And you mentioned, of course, you know, crossing over, you know, becoming a professional wrestler. You've shared the ring with a lot of huge names. You know, we mentioned EC3, Cody Rhodes, even Tommy Dreamer, you know, Rob Van Dam, Ken Shamrock, Drew McIntyre. Who has Moose learned the most from in the ring?
I mean, I think I've taken a little bit of every guy you just mentioned and learned something. And I'm still learning. Every time I step into the ring, whoever it may be, I'm still learning. So you never stop learning when it comes to professional wrestling.
Definitely. And you know, I mentioned a few of those names that are still in Impact Wrestling. Of course, Rob Van Dam, Tommy Dreamer, and Ken Shamrock and Rhino are all, you know, legends that are in the Impact locker room. What's your opinion on that? Is it great to have them in there? Or are you like, these guys are taking a chance from younger stars? Or do you think the balance is right?
No, it's definitely good. I mean, we have a diverse locker room with young and older guys. So, I mean, I think it's good.
Definitely. And one man that you formed an alliance with recently, or two men, I should say, were the North. There's been a lot of talk of Ethan Page maybe leaving Impact. You know, no one really knows whether that will happen or not. But I want to ask for your thoughts on Ethan Page, just, you know, as a person and as a wrestler.
I mean, obviously, Ethan Page, I mean, he's definitely a good wrestler. I mean, if he wasn't, he wouldn't have been with Impact Wrestling as long as he's been with Impact Wrestling. But I don't like to talk about people's contract situations.
Yeah.
That's one thing I don't do because I have no saying and no input in if they staying or going or what's going on. But I mean, if Ethan Page stays, he's definitely a good talent and he definitely help the product and if he goes, then I mean, I'm sure there's a reason why he's leaving, if it's to support his family or whatever it may be. So I guess that's the only thing I can say about that. I mean, I have no input other than what I just said.
Most definitely. And I've got two final questions. The first one is, you know, Moose has transcended the NFL into professional wrestling. We've seen a lot of people do that. You know, people like Roman Reigns, people like Goldberg. If Moose hasn't been the biggest or the best star in terms of adapting to wrestling from the NFL, who has been?
Honestly, I wouldn't even put Goldberg and Roman Reigns' name on that list because what's your definition of playing in the NFL?
Yeah.
Because neither one of those two guys played in the NFL. Like, um, they were on an NFL team for a couple of weeks, but neither one of them played one game or even made opening day roster for an NFL team. So that doesn't in my opinion, or in the opinion of people who actually played in the NFL, those two guys didn't play in the NFL. So I don't even think, not saying that they're not great wrestlers because they both are Hall of Famers and phenomenal wrestlers, but I don't think you put their names on the list when you talk about guys who actually played in the NFL. So, I mean, I guess Goldberg would be the top of the list because he's a guy who had a long career in the NFL and has accomplished a lot of things in professional wrestling.
Yeah, definitely. And my final question, we're definitely coming back to Moose. You know, you're the TNA World Champion just now, maybe the Impact World Champion in the future at some point. We mentioned that, you know, transcending sports and going from the NFL to professional wrestling. Looking into the future, what would you like your legacy to be once you've left the wrestling industry?
I mean, I'm still building that legacy up. I mean, I just be a good enough talent and stay out of trouble outside of the ring, and the rest will take care of itself.
Most definitely, and hopefully we'll see a lot more of Moose versus Rich Swann because that is a match I am really interested in, and hopefully we'll see more of it on Premier Sports and Free Sports in the UK. So thank you so much for joining me, Moose. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you.
All right, thank you.